I used to be able to play a recorder, which is a thing like a flute, but then I got frostbite and had half the fingertips off one hand removed, so I no longer can play a recorder. All sorts of little things over many expeditions have caused failure. Doing Everest, I'd spent 2 months, going up and down, and from the Nepalese side, when at about 28,500 feet, somewhere above the South Col, came to the body of a guy, a really nice guy called Rob Milne, who died of a heart attack somewhere up there. And there hadn't been much snow, and the bodies had therefore reappeared, as it were. And then about half an hour after that, we came on the body of my Sherpa's father. And then a little bit after that, the body of a guy who'd been buried the night before on his way down. And he was a very good Swiss climber. And that, I think, had a mental effect on me. So I didn't quite make it to the top. And that afterwards really annoyed me. So that the following year, 2009, when I got to the same area, I was ready to fight against the wimpish thoughts, because you know that they're going to come back into your head. People can get very down in the mouth and think it's going to be very dangerous or impossible to carry on. And, it's better to accept things, expect the worst, and not get either too excited when it doesn't happen or too excited when things are going well. I try very hard not to be optimistic or pessimistic, but try and find what realism is, to be realistic. That's sometimes quite difficult, and so I would err on the side of pessimism. An expedition back in 79 took us 7 years of work to prepare, okay? So we worked every day for 7 years, unpaid, and we worked at weekends in pubs to make a living, to pay the bills. And at the end of the 7 years, we set out and did the first and only journey by humans around Earth on its polar axis, which has never been done before or since by any route. Well, when we finally got there, it was a good moment. We eventually, after 8 months out on floating ice, we saw the masts of the ship in the distance, like little matchsticks, and it was the first time we could say, we've actually done it. And if we had failed, we'd have wasted 10 years of our lives, unpaid. The element of luck, or fate, or whatever you want to call it, can turn a really lousy, impossible situation into success. I keep a little tiny, very lightweight, because everything has to be lightweight, thing which my mother gave me before she died about 20 years ago. It just says, everything is possible, which is another way of reminding yourself about fate and luck can always change things just like that. On the expeditions, you don't get self-doubt. You either can keep going or you'll be dead if you do, so you don't. I sort of did pretty much die, and it was no problem. I had a massive heart attack, and I never remembered the heart attack. And 4 days later, I woke up after the 13th attempt to start it ticking again, and after a double bypass and so on. And it was just like a good sleep. And if they hadn't started it ticking on the 13th attempt, that experience would have carried on forever. So I did say to a priest after that, why were there no angels or lights in the end of the tunnel or that? And he said, well, you didn't die properly. So I'm none the wiser, really.